So Prabhuji, you preach all over the world, you preach to the youth. How is it that youth is getting connected with your lectures even though they are on serious topics? How do you make them more relatable, presentable?
Yeah, the point is how to make preaching appealing and presentable. That's the point. Well, youths are also connecting to those devotees who are making their preaching appealing by wrong ways. That's also happening, at least in my understanding. So, this is a big topic all around the world. How to make preaching appealing, and then people try to do so many things. They try to start cooking classes.
Really?
Yeah. So you have to give.
I only heard of yoga and
No, yoga is old-fashioned. Yeah, cooking classes, how to make cookies, and sometimes Bharatnatyam classes, how to dance, and then it's so by the way, that's called bridge preaching, and
okay,
we are not so fan of bridge preaching because it's an indirect type of preaching, and the people come with the hope that they want to learn yoga and dance, and then they end up they're trying to convert us. Like Christian conversion.
So they feel cheated.
Yeah, they feel cheated. Actually, I'm not saying this. There's many scholars. So there's one scholar, a female scholar. I think she did some. She had written some thesis, and she's a devotee also, I think so. She's not a devotee. She has pointed this and noted this point that bridge preaching is cheating.
About our movement?
Yeah, about our movement. She wrote a thesis on this. So non-devotees are recognizing this. it's not right. It's conversion, basically. So you don't have to make things appealing in a way so that in the history our movement is known as a cheating movement, a cheater. That's a bad way to do things. I mean to say, you can get people, but what about long-term effects? What about the image of the whole society and Srila Prabhupada? But there are so many other ways to make preaching appealing and not change the message and not do all these kind of stupid gymnastics and stuff.
So what are those ways?
Simple. You can. This is a way what we are doing. You don't make things boring. Make it presentable. Keep the message same. You see, in America there is something called as fun learning.
Fun learning, yes.
And many parents send their kids to fun learning, and in fun learning, children are given various puzzles and they are given various riddles, and in the fun they teach very complex mathematics. So the idea is, one way to make preaching appealing is to give them knowledge in a very simple words. Explain them in simple words, just like you have explained to children, with logic. And another way to and one practical,
avoiding heavy terminology.
Yeah. Avoiding jargon and heavy terminology. Prabhupada did that.
Yes.
And Prabhupada was successful. His preaching was appealing. Who can say his preaching was not appealing? So many people became devotees.
Yes.
And so by the way, this is one point. How do you measure whether your preaching is appealing or not? It's not how many people you collect, how many people are joining to your movement. It's how many people are really becoming devotees and advancing in their consciousness.
True.
So that's one way. Another way to make preaching appealing is question answers. You raise some questions.
I've seen in your lectures you ask a lot of questions and keep people thinking.
Yes, so that's a way you make people think. And when people think, then automatically the subject becomes appealing and interesting to the person, because he's involved in the discussion. So it is my understanding, monologue doesn't make things appealing. It's a dialogue, and that's precisely the Socratic method. He said let's have a dialogue, and so we can do that. It's a traditional method. Another way to make things appealing is you discuss on relevant practical topics. Don't discuss some fairy topics which has no relevance with the life of the person.
Yes.
And that makes appealing, interesting. Okay, this is concerned with my life. Another way to make preaching appealing is present in a scientific way. By science, I don't mean experiment. By science, I mean present things very objectively and not subjectively.
Okay. Could you please care to explain?
Like, for example, if some devotee asks, how should I advance? Then the answer is, become sincere. Sincere is very abstract word. Then he might be thinking in his mind, well, I am sincere, you know. I'm not insincere, okay, but if I
Or maybe he asked the question because he's not sincere.
Yeah, okay, so then the answer is become sincere, then what to do?
Yes.
What do I have to do? I have to sincerely eat Mahaprasadam? These are all abstract terms. Be sincere or chant nicely. Okay, now what to do? How to chant nicely? Should I just close myself in a room and chant nicely? The point is, or feel for Krishna. There are
really surrenders.
Yeah,
you know, they use terminologies like
really.
you should really surrender. You know.
This is abstract. So this doesn't appeal to intelligence. This is age of logic, and people are intelligent enough. So speak in a very objective way. You should have objective signs and symptoms. Okay, how should I chant? Okay, fine. You should chant with right attitude. What's the right attitude? Then blah blah blah. These are the points, and apply it and advance. That's all. The point is, your preaching will become appealing and interesting if that devotee applies your points, your lectures, and
if it is practically applicable.
It's practically applicable. That's the point. It becomes interesting. So this is how you can make your preaching interesting.
Yeah, that's the problem. Some people use a lot of jargons and, you know, you should really surrender and focus on chanting. But what does that really mean? How does that apply in my case? Is something they fail to explain.
You should really chant, and then they speculate and they think, oh, really chant means, okay, so plug in earplugs and plug some cotton in your nose and some tape and Hare Krishna. Doesn't help. That doesn't help. Okay. So that's the idea. So everything should be clear and precise. Srila Prabhupada says in Srimad Bhagavatam, actually Srila Prabhupada says, you should present your Krishna consciousness nicely, and then Prabhupada explains what's nicely. Prabhupada said in very simple words, clear and precise. And that will make your preaching presentable and interesting. You don't have to do some gimmicks. You don't have to do entertainment. People are doing, to make preaching appealing, they are cutting jokes. Okay, you can cut jokes, one or off and on sometimes, but not always. You don't have to become a joker, to
the jokes should come out spontaneously. They should not be planned and
they prepare and then plan, and at this time, this point, this time, this joke, and then this thing. How does it happen? That's
stand-up comedy, actually.
Yeah, and Srila Prabhupada's stand-up comedy.
That's stand-up comedy.
Yeah. Srila Prabhupada says, if you want to make your preaching appealing, speak realizations. That's the bottom line.
Wow.
Prabhupada makes it clear in his purports. One of the letter Prabhupada writes to one of a devotee, I forgot that letter. Prabhupada says, if you want your preaching to be successful, speak realizations. So if you realize a subject, it will be appealing. Definitely.
Does that mean when Prabhupada said purity is the force? It's
the same thing. Yeah, purity is a force. Yeah, purity is a force. That makes appealing. So you realize a subject and then speak, but that's difficult. So people opt for a bypass or an easy route, and then they say cooking classes, vegetarian or yoga, and then jokes.
Business management.
What's this? This is a deviation. What I think personally is a deviation in a philosophy, in a movement, and that's not a good idea. Prabhupada never said this. We should not do this.
Does this also mean that those preachers don't have faith in the process of our acharyas? That our acharya, the process of teaching or whatever?
Yeah, I mean to say, it seems like that. They don't have faith in the process is given by Srila Prabhupada by acharyas, and they're concocting new methods. It's not required. It's not required. You see, Harinam, 500 years back Mahaprabhu gave us, still it's applicable. It's equally powerful when 500 years back and equally powerful now, in spite of the fact the world has advanced much beyond our dreams in relation what it was 500 years back when Gaudiya Vaishnava movement started. But the same things are effective. So then that means other instructions are also effective. Why to invent things? Actually, Srila Prabhupada says in one of his, where in purport in books or somewhere in lectures, Prabhupada says, don't invent anything. Do what Mahaprabhu has given, and that will be success.
I think there is a quotation similar, something, it goes like, the problem with you Americans is you like to change things.
You like to change things, something like that, yeah. Problem with everyone.
So where did this idea of preaching come from? Who invented?
I don't know from where it came, but down the line, if you go in history, all the movements, all the theistic movements, they eventually go into this bridge preaching to bring people. So people speculate and then they do. I think it's all...
when you are result or number oriented.
Yeah, when you're result oriented, then you start doing things which are off the line. We should have result, but not at the cost of speculating and inventing ideas and changing the things. That's not right. Okay.
Thank you.